may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
What a day to start Saturday Catterday with a beautiful big male lion. This is Safari Live. Ready.
Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Well, it looks to be Mfumo, the authority. One of the Birmingham boys. Looks like that wound on his face has opened up a little bit again. Has he been scrapping with the ladies? Or is he going to roar? Giving low contact calls. Sort of stick with him. Isn't this magnificent? Big male lion walking next to us. And my name is Brent. I've got Rian on camera, and that is Mfumo, the authority. And shake your head, big boy. So what a way to start the weekend. Saturday, Catterday, off to a bang with a Birmingham boy. Remember the hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or questions at WildEarthTV if you'd like to send us any questions. Now he is moving to the north. I'm hoping he doesn't keep it up at this speed, because before the first hour of half hour of show's up, he'll be away and gone to the north. Or he could turn to the east or west, is what we're hoping. A little sniff sniff and a scent mark. And he's giving me some good reversing practicing, and I was my reversing left a little bit to be desired as I woke up this morning and left the carports. So obviously the lions knew I needed some practice. Now, Charlie says, Brent, this doesn't look like the same injury. It's too high up and it's swollen. Charlie, I think it's to do with the same injury. I think he might have got a few more maggots in it. And as you can see, that swelling under his eye. Now, one must remember that male lions are constantly full of nicks, scratches, holes and bite marks. It doesn't really affect them too much, but we will be able to see there if that swells up again and all the maggots cascade out again. You can definitely see the swelling there. Hey, big boy. Always in the wars. You can see almost every bush or whatnot that he comes across so far on this walk of his is scent marking, except that one, because I tried to predict he was going to do it, so he decided to completely ignore me. Now, Mr. Authority, you are about to be snorted at something fierce. There's some Impala behind me who've spotted him from a mile off. And there's one Impala there. I can't see if there are any others. You can see that stance. And 3, 2. Come on. Where's your snort? It's coming. Okay, don't snort. There we go. Now, a single Impala is a bit of a stretch for a single male lion. Probably a bit too quick, and without other members of the pride to coordinate the hunt, quite difficult. So generally when male lions are away from the females on their patrols, as this gentleman is at the moment, if they do hunt, it's generally larger stuff. Looking at buffalo or hippo or giraffe. It's another favourite. Morning, Marianne. Marianne would like to know, is Mfumo fully grown? How big is he? How old? I would say so. He's over 6 years old now, and he's in his prime. He weighs probably just under 400 pounds or around 400 pounds, and he's not the biggest male lion I've seen, but he is a beautiful specimen. He's got that lovely mane that's starting to darken now, and as he gets older, it's going to darken more and more. That is the one place we really don't want him to go. Hopefully he just carries on parallel and doesn't drop down into the little ravine system that's here. There he is. He stopped there. I just want to see where he's going. That is not good. I'm not sure if there's a way down into the ravine around here, but we shall try. While we try to figure out where he's going, let's go say good morning to Taylor.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to a not-so-sunrise safari, but that's always a good start when you cannot get your first sentence out correctly. Well, let's try that again. Good morning, and welcome to a not-so-sunrise safari, but it's still going to be a wonderful day, and especially the fact that Brent has started and found us a big male lion. Now, my name is Taylor, and on camera with me this morning, we've got David. Now, I don't know when I last saw a male lion. I think it was probably just before I went on my long vacation. So it'll be nice to see some screenshots. So remember, we haven't seen the Birmingham boys for quite some time. So take a couple of screenshots. It'd be nice to have a look at Mfumo's injury that I believe he has above his eye. And you can send them through. You can either hashtag Safari Live on Twitter, or you can send those pictures through to questions@WildEarthTV. Right, David, I think this is us. I think this is our turn-off. Let's just check on the magic GPS. Let's wait for it. Wait for the little blue dot. This is us. Now we're about to turn off into Arathusa. We're going to drive all the way down this road, down the boundary. So David, you've got your spotting eyes on this morning. And hopefully, I'm hoping, 2 days in a row coming here, maybe we get lucky. Well, again, because we got so lucky yesterday with Shadow. And well, we're going to have a little scratch around and see if those lions, if we can pick up on Shadow too, that would be wonderful. Maybe they come across the boundary. So I'm going to take it easy along this road to make sure that I don't miss anything. It's very, very easy to miss tracks out here, especially because the road is not very sandy. It's quite hard. There's quite a bit of stone in it. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna go stealth mode here, but there's a big kudu that's just woken up. Good morning, mister. Don't run away, it's okay. Look at him. Hello, big boy. Shame. That's what I look like first thing in the morning. You can see he's trying to stretch. He hasn't quite woken up just yet, and it's still quite dark out here, so he's allowed to have a couple more minutes of sleep. Hello, big boy. He is a rather large kudu. I don't think we disturbed him too much, though. I'm sure he was getting ready to wake up, as the chorus of the birds is just starting to start, and I couldn't imagine, well, I can't sleep past them when they get going. The first thing that wakes me up, not that it's a bad thing, it's quite nice to have the birds waking you up first thing in the morning. It's a very pleasant sound. Bye-bye, Mr. Kudu. He didn't want to stay for too long. Perhaps it's because he hasn't quite got ready for the day, and maybe he needs to get dressed and put his face up. Ooh, the radio has just started. Let's see what's happening out here. Oh, I've also got to check, sorry, I'm going to be checking my GPS because I am driving right on the boundary, so I just want to make sure that I don't go somewhere I'm not supposed to go. Right, look, I think I should be safe. Let's just check here. Right, put that back down again. Anything yet, David, on your side? Nothing. David says he hasn't seen anything just yet. I wonder if we're going to have a bit more luck than we did yesterday with all the various mammal species, because we didn't see any elephants. We only really just saw Impala yesterday and a couple of buffalo. And maybe this wind will die down and it will get a little bit better. That's what I'm telling myself anyway. Ooh, it's starting to drizzle, David. A little bit of rain coming down. Not too much, though. Not quite enough for us to put our rain covers on. It could just be this cloud that we're passing under. It's more like a mist. It's quite nice, actually. You know, those misting fans that you get and ones that you spray yourself. Somebody got one of those as their Christmas present. I can't remember who, but they weren't using it correctly. Oh, it was James. Hey, yeah. So James got the fan, the misting fan, but like I said, he didn't use it like he was supposed to use it. But that's exactly what it feels like right now. Just a couple of little drops, a bit of wind. It's quite refreshing. Oh, an impala. Ah, first mammal for us, for David and I, but they're racing away from us. Come back, impala. There they go. Let's see. We'll stop up ahead and see if we can get a view. Hello, where did you go? No, still running. They're darting off, you can see. And it's, oh, you might be able, let me get up ahead. Sorry, it's a male chasing a female around. Let's see if we can get another view of them. I think they've stopped. It's a bit tricky through all the branches. You can see he's settled down for the moment. I think that female has managed to get away. It's quite bizarre that he's chasing her around at this time of the year. Maybe she actually just got a bit too far away from the herd, and he's trying to coax her to go back into it. But I don't see the rest of them around. She's veered completely off track. Right. Now, David, even having this little sprinkle of rain, we weren't supposed to get any rain today. I checked all the weather applications and forecasts and things like that, and they said that we weren't going to get any rain today. But this does count as rain, doesn't it? It does count. I think it counts as rain, a little spit. Ah, finally, now the sand is getting a little bit softer. which is good for us. And because we didn't have so much rain, and the rain that we had was quite early, it was really sort of straight after drive after we left you, well, last night for us, but it was in the morning for all of you if you're watching from the northern hemisphere. And well, I don't think it would have destroyed the tracks too much, and it wasn't for very long either. By the time I'd gone to bed, it had sort of stopped. It was a tiny little pitter-patter on the ground. But we'll keep checking termite mounds on the ground, up the tree, just to make sure that nothing is hiding from us. I don't know if anybody else does this. I must actually ask James. So, because James and I used to ride horses, every time I go over these little bumps in the road. Basically, I count strides between the bumps on the road, which sounds ridiculous, but when you're riding and you're jumping especially, you used to have to make sure that you had the right amount of strides to get to the next jump, so that your horse didn't have to jump too far away or too close or run through the jump. David, you probably don't do that, but I do it in my head. Like, that one was about 10 strides. It's ridiculous. The things that go on in my head first thing in the morning is completely bizarre. Just checking, I think it was just a turtle dove that dashed into a guarri tree. Watch out, David. Little shrub there. Good morning, Michelle. Now, I don't know if it's the first question of the day, but it's definitely the first question for me. I'm just going to stop here. Michelle, I'll get to your question now and make sure that I'm not driving somewhere I shouldn't be driving. Open sesame. We were looking for the blue dot. Okay, that's good. Let's go this way. Right, we're going the right way towards the Nkuhumas. Now, Michelle, to get back to your question, which was, where are the Nkuhumas currently? So, the last thing I heard last night was that they were on Simbambili, but quite close to the boundary, at a spot called Boundary Pan. So, we're basically going to head as close to that area as we can on Arathusa's traverse, and see if we can't maybe have a little look. Maybe they've come across... Apparently they were on a buffalo kill, but I didn't hear if it was an adult buffalo, if it was a baby buffalo. So we'll have to go and have a little inspection. But it's quite nice though that Mfumo's come back, and I wonder where all of the Birmingham boys have been hiding. We're just gonna see. It's gonna look a bit strange, but I'm gonna pull off the side of the road occasionally and just drop my head over my shoulder. I just want to make sure, while the sand is quite nice and soft, to see if there's any, of course, to see if there's any footprints. We'll just go very, very slowly along here. And we're also coming up to the area where we last saw Shadow. So maybe we see her footprints darting over the road. Just double check again. It's going to probably just keep my phone out just like this, just so that I can have a look. There's not too much out here. Only footprints I've seen so far were a couple of zebra hooves on the ground. Not the greatest tracks, I'm afraid. Let's have another look over here. Right. Nope, nothing here. So, I believe there's a question about my horse riding. Now, Riss, you were wondering if I ever competed in horse jumping. Yes, that was the sport, one of the sports that I used to do. I wasn't too fond of dressage. I think I was too untidy for dressage and show jumping, because everybody used to complain about my hair coming out of my hat, and I can't help it. I must just let everybody know it's not intentional, but my hair has a mind of its own, and it does what it wants when it wants to. It does not listen to a hairbrush or hair clips or anything like that. It does it all by itself. So I used to just do show jumping where I could get away with my hair being all over the show, and it was lots of fun. I jumped an array of different heights with my different horses. It was lots of fun. But sadly, when you enter the guiding industry, this becomes your life, and it's not a bad life to be able to do what I do every single day. So sadly, I had to give up riding competitively. And while I don't have any horses anymore. Any moment, that does obviously not go with that sentence. I sold them all many years ago, about 5 years ago now. About 5 years ago, somewhere around there. Which is sad. One day, David, your water's creeping in on my lap. I'm fine, thank you. It's very heavy. I'm exhausted now from lifting that. Okay, we're coming to another junction. Where are we going to? Oh, this is actually where we had shadow last night. I think I did say that earlier. Right, let's double check here. Nope. Okay, we'll go down this way then. And then we're almost at Boundary Pan, or well, where Boundary Pan would be in relation to the roads that we can drive on. Wait, what's happening here? So, now, there's a couple of little footprints around here, but unfortunately I can't really see what they are because the rain has rained on top of them. And while I try and decipher what we've got on the ground here, let's go back across to Brent and see what he looks like with his fancy new rain covers.
Yes, fancy rain covers indeed. We're getting some sort of misty-like rain. Unfortunately, that male lion managed to give us the slip as he went through that very steep ravine, and while we were putting our rain covers on. But I am hoping we can catch up with him again. He's not roaring, so he's not making it easier for us, but we will try. I wonder if he's going to come out on Hyena Road. I just got to be on the game drive quickly. Morning, Rex. We had one Wanunangala on Gari Cutline. He went through into the Shkova, across the Shkova, heading towards Hyena Road. I'm busy trying to relocate on the other side of the drainage line now. Nothing yet. Taylor's checking that area. I'm going to see if... I'm not sure where this one has gone, but I think he's going to pop out on Hyena Road. Sorry, guys. Loot. Okay. So Dan was wondering, do big cats have conflict with other big cats? Well, indeed they do. Lions being the top of the pyramid there. Almost all predators will have conflict with each other, and lions will kill leopard or cheetah or any other cat they come across, even a little serval or a caracal. It's and the same will go with the leopard if they have an opportunity to kill lion cubs or whatnot. It's all about competition and removing it. So yes, there is quite often conflict between the different big cats. Now, where, oh where, has our male lion gone? I was hoping he would give us a roar, make it slightly easier for us to find him again. Now he could have gone straight through, sort of making a beeline towards the area around Buffels Hook Dam on the other side, or I think I've got a feeling he might have headed a little bit further to the north after he crossed the little river system. So I'm going to head back up towards the boundary, unless I spot him on Hyena Road here. Now, Diane would like to see his tracks when they're back on the road. Diane, it's going to be almost impossible for me to show you tracks at the moment unless he steps in some mud. The ground is very, very hard, and I'm looking at a ghost of a track is what I'm normally tracking it after the rains, and it did rain a little bit last night, and so that actually compounds the earth. It makes tracking near impossible, and the tracks you are seeing are faint ghosts of tracks rather than those lovely clear pug marks we're seeing during the dry season. So if I do see one where he stood in the mud or he stood on a soft patch of sand, I will indeed show you, Diane. But I think a lot of the tracks, especially in the area we're working at the moment, are going to be pretty much invisible from the camera's point of view. I'm looking at slightly darkened scuffs in the sand, so very, very faint, fine stuff. So I came through the block and I ended up a little bit further south than where I think he was heading. Now, of course, I did that on purpose just to make sure he didn't sneak behind us, and so far it doesn't look like it. There's always a possibility that he's gone to snooze somewhere in those thickets around the river system, but we checked around where he crossed, so I think we're in the right zone. What I might do is, oh, hello little duiker. It's running off. There we go. Hello little grey duiker. Hoppity 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 skip and a jump. Now, duiker is not a good indicator. They're one of the few antelope species they don't alarm at other creatures. So if they see a lion, they'll generally try to sneak off quite quietly rather than make a big noise like the impala. But there are some impala here. They've disappeared now. Well, that means the male lion could have bamboozled us and gone further to the south. Well, let's just keep checking a little bit. And if we get nothing over here, then we will head down Hyena Road towards Central. Hello, Fuzzman Sparkles. Fuzzman Sparkles would like to know, have I ever seen lion killing hyena, and how many times? I actually have, probably about 10 or 12 times. There was a male lion in northern Botswana while I was growing up who had a particular dislike for hyena, a much bigger dislike than I've ever seen any other lions. I don't know, maybe he was harassed heavily during his nomadic period or when he was a cub, but he was not to be, if you were a hyena, he was bad news. He used to see hyenas from 800-900 meters away and stalk them and charge in and kill them with just a bite. So one morning we drove out of the lodge and we're driving down the road that heads down towards the Kondo River, and there were 7 dead hyenas along that road over about 3 kilometers that all were killed by that one male lion. He really didn't like hyenas. He was part of a coalition of 4, but the other 3 males, I mean, they didn't like hyenas, but they didn't actively seek out to kill all hyenas. Now that area also has an incredibly large hyena clan from genetic testing done from fecal samples and from actual darting of hyenas for research. estimated or definite genetic samples of over 90 individuals, and that's of course not including the babies. So the clan was probably closer to 130, 140. Sometimes they'd have 4 or 5 active den sites. Incredible clan of hyenas, that. In the Sabi Sands, we have found one hyena that was killed by, we didn't see it, but we found a hyena on Shabam Road that was killed by a male lion, but I think that was way back when. I think it was Matimba males who did that. Okay, maybe we managed to jump out of the block ahead of him. So I'm going to check Hyena Road, a bit further south from where we are. From where we were, sorry. And from where we are. While we keep checking the northeastern regions of Djuma, Taylor is far to the west of us on Arathusa, and let's go see how her endeavors are faring.
A boundary, and sadly it doesn't look like any lions have come across, so I went to basically exactly where boundary pan is in conjunction with the Arathusa boundary to Simbambili, but sadly I think that pan that they're at must have some water in, and there would be no need for them to go anywhere. If they've got food and they've got water, they're probably just going to hang around there, and I'm sure there's a couple of trees that will provide some shade for them, not that they really need it today. Although the clouds look like they're thinning out a bit, hey David? You can see a little bit of blue sky popping out here and there, which is fantastic. Maybe we'll have a day like yesterday, where it started off a bit chilly and cloudy, and then it turned out to be wonderful the mid-afternoon, and then it went back to being windy and cloudy again, but that's okay. So we'll go along the boundary over here, and I think we'll go and check around the Arathusa airstrip and perhaps the more eastern sections of this area, and have a look. Maybe we pick up on some elephants, maybe a big herd of Impala with lots of little ones that we'll be able to sit and watch. But for now, there's not much. Oh, who's here? A bird. I've got a bird, I've got a bird. Don't you fly. Don't you fly. There we go. Oh, we've got lots of birds. Are you looking for the flycatcher? I think it's a little bit to the right. Where is it? Ah, it was on the other tree, is it? Can we get a little bit closer? Let's see. Yes, it looks like it is a southern black flycatcher that's fluttering around over here from wattle to wattle. Now, the reason that I know it's a flycatcher and not a drongo is because it lacks the red eye and, of course, the very obvious fork in its tail. Now, what have you got in your mouth? Are you going to build a nest somewhere? Oh, there's the nest. Look, look, look. Hello, Starwish246. Now, I know you were wondering why it's so quiet out here. And, well, I think it's because it's so cloudy and that the birds haven't quite started off singing their chorus. You should be able to hear a yellow-billed hornbill clattering away in the distance. There's a pair. Oh, I'm getting so distracted, but look at this. We're going to move away from the hornbill. We have a pair of southern black flycatchers. And now they're obviously nesting in this dead silver cluster leaf. We saw this one come over with a bit of a twig, and it placed it obviously very carefully inside the hollowed out trunk of this tree. That is incredible. I've never seen a southern black flycatcher nest. I actually don't even know what type of nest they must make. I would have assumed there's the other one, either the male or the female. I don't think there's any difference between the two. Oh, look how lovely that is. Get off, this is mine. But I thought that they would have made a cup nest of some sort, but it seems as though they use cavities of the trees. I must have it. Maybe I'll get my little app out and I'll do a bit of research. But isn't that just amazing? Adding twigs, sitting on it, just checking to see if that's okay, if they can make it more comfortable. Isn't that just absolutely wonderful? Hello. Maybe it's looking for another twig to take back. Look, that's exactly what it looked like it was doing. No, I think you're going to have to find some pieces that are already on the ground. Isn't that just beautiful? Now you can hear the chorus. Turtle doves, yellow-billed hornbills. There was a crested barbet calling earlier. It seems as though they've all just started a little bit later this morning. That's okay. You're allowed to have a bit of a sleep in every now and then. What I'm going to do is, I don't think there's any eggs inside here. I want to have a little sneak peek as to what's actually going on inside over here. Now, you can see we've just pulled up. We're on the road next to this tree. And this is what they're using at the moment. It's obviously quite difficult to have a look inside. But right in the middle there, I think I'm going to go and poke my nose in there. I'm going to be back. Let's go have a little look. Have a very quick look. I don't want to go for too long. I'm going to sneak around the back because I've parked myself in the tree. Let's have a quick look. Very cool. Okay, so I'm just going to describe to you what's going on over there. Basically, there's no eggs inside there just yet. They're just layering the hollowed out cavity because it goes all the way down quite far, and well, they don't want to fall through. So they're basically almost making a platform. They're lining the hollowed out part of the tree trunk, and they're just laying lots and lots of sticks. And it's sort of just started, so I reckon they probably only just started working on it. I don't think it's been for very long. Should we go through the wattle, David? I'm scared. There's polyrhynchus ants. Okay, go. Okay. Was that good? Was I on form? Did I have my knees bent correctly? Good. Always got to bend your knees. Right. We'll leave those southern black flycatchers alone and let them carry on building their nest. That's very, very nice. My first southern black flycatcher nest. Now, speaking about birds, Soraya from New Jersey was wondering if the drought would have an effect on the bird population. And yes, it would. And the thing that will affect the birds the most is the lack of food that will be around. Because if you don't have any water, you're not going to have the trees producing enough fruits and producing their leaves, whatever, depending on what the bird may eat. And then, of course, we've got a woodlands kingfisher. Let's have a look. Go through the next gap. And then, of course, oh, it's so difficult. Can you get it there? Ah. Typical, as we said, that if a bird flies away. And then the other thing is that, as you've noticed with all the rain that we've had over the last couple of weeks, is the abundance of insect life that has come about. And once again, that's providing a lot of food to a variety of bird species that are feeding on insects. So without the rain, you won't have any of those things, no food at all for the animals. Eventually, they would have to move out of their comfort zone and go to other areas in order to search for some food. So I think that maybe if the drought had continued, they would have probably delayed feeding or laying eggs, maybe something like that. Maybe the mating would have only happened later on because the animals would have been a bit too stressed. Oof, got to get the GPS out now. There's more than a fork in the road. There's 3 roads we can go on. Which one are we allowed to go on? I think we'll go on this one. Let's go here. But at least we haven't, the drought didn't continue. I'm so happy that we're sort of getting over it now. It's fantastic. And hopefully it keeps up too. Now, a bird that I am going to be looking out for. We normally start to see them later on in the year, maybe even the beginning of next year. And I know James was wondering exactly this. Have there been any sightings of the carmine bee eater? Now, I haven't seen any yet, but I'm definitely going to be looking out for them. Brent hasn't said to me that he's seen one just yet, so perhaps they have not arrived just yet. Maybe they will be, though. I'd suspect that it'd be a good time to come here, though, all the insects and things that are around. Right, who have we got around here that's fluttering? Looks like... David, I'm going to try and sneak up onto them. Let's go stealth mode. But they're flying just here. Don't fly. No. Naughty birds. Why do they do this to us all the time? There were some arrow-marked babblers, but as they always do, they didn't even make a sound. This time they just made a sneaky escape, and off they went. Well, fine babblers. We just won't show you to everyone then. It's not very nice. Oh, well. Seems like we're going to have a birding day today. David, where are all the Impala today? They were here yesterday, and now they're gone. Oh, we've got something else. Who have we got here? Check the tops of the trees. And I haven't even seen one insect this morning. But maybe it's because it's a little bit cold. I feel like I'm a little bit overdressed today. I don't actually need this big jacket. It's not that cold. Right, we're going to have a little scratch around here, check a couple of the pans. This was the last time I saw hyenas. They were around here, so we'll have a good look around here for any sign of life. But while we do that, we're going to send you across to Brent and see if he's had any luck with relocating on Mfumo.
Well, Mfumo doesn't seem to want to be found. I'm pretty sure he'll come out of that block at some time, but it would take a long time of driving up and down off the road to find him. And you know what, we've started Saturday Cat Day with a lovely big cat. Let's see if we can find a few more. So of course I'm still very interested in the ongoings of Karula and Tingana. I'm pretty sure they must be on Torchwood if they're still mating, as Tingana was heading straight east, but it could be coming towards the end of that mating cycle, so she might be trying to move back down to where she left the cubs. And so we're going to do a loop around, check Cheetah cut line, check the southern boundary, make sure she has come back or hasn't come back, just try to get a bit more information. I haven't heard anything from the other guides, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the next week or two. Now, I know you were chatting about carmine bee eaters with Taylor. Now, strange enough, I have seen one, but we were off air, and it was a single one flying over. So they are around. Maybe we'll see one this morning on this grey, windy day. Morning, Gil. Gil would like to know, is there any possibility of wild dogs today? Gil, there's always a possibility of wild dogs. I hope so though, Gil, I really do. I haven't seen dogs in an age. I think the last dogs I saw, was it when they chased Karula? No, I think I've seen them once after that. And it seems very quiet so far. No tracks on the eastern front. Now, since Gil's asked a question about wild dogs, if there's a possibility of seeing them, I think we should all focus our positive energy in wild dogs. Actually, I wouldn't mind some Christmas Day wild dogs. That'll be quite nice. But let's think now. Which game reserve, quiz time, in Africa has the largest population of wild dogs? which game reserve in Africa has the largest population of wild dogs? You can send your answers through to hashtag Safari Live or email questions at WildEarthTV. Which game reserve in Africa has the largest population of wild dogs? There we go, that's a nice one. Get the wild dog thinking going, maybe they'll pop up in front of us. I actually think the last time I saw wild dogs was on Cheetah Cutline, but it was quite a long time ago. One second, sorry guys. Morning, Michael. We had one Unangala. We lost him as he went into the Skova from Gari Cutline. No sign of him coming out on Hyena Road, but I have left the area. I'm sure he's in there still somewhere. Any updates for CP or the East? Oh, hello. Okay, copy, thanks very much. And just let me know if you hear anything on Eastern Channel about Karula. There he is. Yeah, little beetle. I'm not sure what family. It's not a dung beetle. Yeah, well, he doesn't want to be forward facing. Hello, there we go. Nice shiny iridescence. Anyway, let him blow away. Oh no, he doesn't want to go. Oh, come on, little one. There we go. Okay. See, there's always something out here, big, small. Now we've got our first answer in for the quiz. Marianne would like to know, is it the Sabi Sands? It is not, Marianne, it is not. As far as I know, let me just remember, there are 14 packs in Kruger, or the greater Kruger area, which we fall in, and only 4 of those packs pass through the Sabi Sands. Safari Dean says Moremi in Botswana. It does have one of the bigger populations, but not the biggest. There's estimated only to be 3,500 to 4,000 wild dogs left in the wild in the whole of Africa. Now, what's considered to be a population is generally 450 or above in an area, and there's less than 300 in the greater Kruger. There were 450 when I started in the Sabi Sands a long time ago, in 2003, but there was an outbreak of Canna and distemper in 2005 that really whacked the wild dog population in this area, but they are slowly building back up to that 450, that viable breeding population. Well done to James, Richard and Michael, you are spot on. It is indeed the Selous Game Reserve in southern Tanzania. There is an estimated between 1,500 and 2,000 buffalo, I saw buffalo dung, wild dog in the Selous Game Reserve. It is a truly massive game reserve. It is over 10 million acres. A very, very big area, very, very remote, very hard to get to. I was lucky enough to spend a few years living and running a concession in that part of the world, and I had in our concession, I saw 4 different packs of dogs. 5 different packs of dogs. Now, that concession I ran in southern Tanzania was 120,000 hectares, which is exactly double the size of the whole Sabi Sands, from north to south everywhere. And we only ever had 8 people at a time on safari with us. Morning, Yanni. Yanni would like to know, what is the reason why wild dog numbers are so low? Well, it's a multiple reasons. Wild dogs need a very big home range. Generally, a single pack will need between 60 and 100,000 hectares, so over 200,000 acres for a single pack. They're highly mobile, they're highly efficient hunters, and so a lack of space. But the thing that caused the biggest crash in the populations, they were heavily shot out during the early 1900s. But even then, that was still okay. There was enough sort of faraway places where they existed. But canine distemper and rabies from domestic dogs have been the biggest killers and threat to the populations. Now, their biggest natural predator, and that occurs naturally in the wild, is lions. Kill quite a lot of wild dogs, but it is disease from domestic dogs, distemper and rabies, that have caused the most massive crashes in populations in the last 20 years. So lack of habitat, disease, and human shooting have been the 3 major contributing factors to the loss of massive wild dog populations. Now we're looking for sign of leopards here on the southern boundary. So far, no sign whatsoever. Still a few spitting spots of rain in the air, nothing too serious though, fortunately. Now, it wasn't far from here where I've seen the only carmine bees of the year, so let's keep a lookout. Maybe there's some more. What have you seen? What did you spot? A what? An eagle. Aha, I heard some alarm calls. Where we go? Where am I going?
And stop.
And stop. Oh, well spotted, Rian. There's a bird of prey in the tree. It's looking very uncomfortable with life. It is a very, very, very cold and fluffed up Wahlberg's eagle. There we go. A dark morph Wahlberg's eagle. I thought for a second how excited Rian got. He had spotted his first leopard. Now you can hear chip, 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 chip. And that's birds' alarm calling at the eagle. Oh, another one's landed. Let's go forward a bit. A juvenile Bateleur. There we go. Landed on the big dead leadwood that gives Leadwood Road its name. Ooh. It's a juvenile that's coming into adult plumage. So that means it's about 8 years old. It takes them about 8 years old to get their full adult plumage. So maybe just under 8. Oh, Herbie is calling me. Good morning, Herbie. There was just one Wununangala that went from Gari Cutline through the Shkova. I'm pretty sure he's somewhere between Hyena and the Shkova. And then that's it so far. You're having a scratch. A bit of preening, get those feathers all in order. So of course, as I said, it's coming into adult plumage, so it's going to be molting. It's going to be losing quite a lot of its juvenile, those brown feathers, as the beautiful black feathers take their place. You can see feet are already red. They've changed from that bluey green color, and so it has the beak and face. Not quite fully changed to that magnificent red that we know they can get, but it's on its way. It's happening. Maybe by the end of the year you'll be a big Bateleur. Yes, we're talking about you. Anyway, we're going to leave the Bateleur and continue on. Now, Taylor is obviously exploring the far-flung corners of Arathusa, trying to find you, maybe an Impala or a leopard. So let's go see how her search is going.
Brent is indeed being very optimistic this morning because we haven't seen a footprint of anything at the moment. It's very frustrating out here, but it seems as though we have found ourselves a couple of European bee-eaters. Now, they're very easy to identify. Think there's any wasps or bees for them to catch just yet. I think it's a little bit early to see the insects. And can you hear that other bird shouting? That is a lilac-breasted roller making all that noise. I don't know what it's shouting about, but the bee-eaters don't seem to mind it too much, just watching it. The wind has died down, hey David? It's now gone. It's actually warm. I'm going to have to take my jacket off shortly, which will be quite nice, and then I think that the insects will start waking up and the birds will then start flying around doing their acrobatic displays, catching all sorts of wonderful things to eat. Bye-bye, little bee eaters. We're going to continue up the road and see what else we've got along here. There's lots of marula trees, so we're checking them for leopards. Right. Now, speaking about, we're actually having a birding morning today. Maybe we should just start talking only about birds, and then perhaps a mammal will jump in front of us or show itself to us. Now, Siberia Zumi, you were wondering about if we get any tinker birds in this area. We do indeed. Occasionally we see them. Hello, Impala. We have an Impala. A beautiful Impala ram. And you can see what I mean when I say it's not too chilly today. He doesn't really have his coat all ruffled up. It's quite pleasant out here. Oh, but they're looking fantastic at the moment. You know it must be tough for the animals when you start to see the Impala losing condition and their hips starting to show. Because with them being able to feed on a variety of different food types, they normally have a better chance at making it through the harsher conditions. But at one point, they didn't look too good. And you can see he's staring back behind him over his shoulder. And that's because there's a young Impala ram making his approach. So I suspect that this is one of the boys that perhaps was born last year. And Mom has said, right, off you go. and he's been wandering around on his own. And I think he's quite excited to see another impala, because it must be quite daunting to be out here all on your own. No life experience. The family doesn't want you around anymore. And of course, well, you don't want to hang around all on your own out here. You see, very nervous. Also, just checking around. But maybe he's got some friends. Maybe there's a couple of other young boys that are still coming up in the distance. Almost looks like he was doing a nervous swallow there. I don't know if you saw him do that big gulp as his ears twitch. He doesn't look as confident as that big impala ram we just had a look at. You'll get there. You'll learn the ropes, especially if you hang around a big boy like we've just seen. I think he's got plenty of life experience, and he probably knows quite a few of the tricks of the trade. But you've still got a long way to go, my friend. Hasn't quite got the muscle tone of a big, strong impala ram. He's still quite sort of scrawny. It almost looks like his legs are big, don't quite fit the rest of his body. It's okay. Oh, now we're getting a couple of drops again, but it's not really anything serious. It's more of a mist this morning than anything out here on Arathusa. And you can see, oh, he's just beautiful. He's going to be a lovely ram when he gets a little bit older, but not for the next couple of years. Well, thank you, Impala, for breaking our silence of the mammals. We haven't seen anything for quite some time other than our feathered friends, but I know someone who's just woken up and wiping the sleep out of his eyes, and I suppose he'll say good morning to you. Let's jump across to James.
Good morning everybody. Yes, the sleep being wiped from my eyes as we stand here on quarantine clearings looking at a zebra who's been up for some time. Brian is on camera today. There we are. My name is James Hendry, and it would be lovely to hear from you. Of course, we are as live as Taylor and Brent, and I'm now going to stop pretending to be tired, because I've been up for hours actually. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. Questions at WildEarthTV. I've just had my coffee. Zebra, let's go and see. We're going to walk towards the zebra and see how close we can get to them. I'm not sure how long this walk is going to last, to be honest, because it is just a little bit sort of blustery and there's the odd squall blowing through, and the bushwalk camera doesn't really like the odd squall. Watch out, Brian. There's something extremely dangerous here. Do you see it?
I do.
It is a black mamba. A small-legged black mamba. It's not really a black mamba, everyone. It's a very large millipede. You can see it next to my stick. It's actually the largest one I've seen this season. And it doesn't want to climb onto my stick, and I don't want to pick it up. I picked up a pill millipede earlier today, but the pill millipede decided to void its bowels onto my hands, and I find that really a deeply distressing experience to have had, and this millipede will no doubt do precisely the same thing. It is looking for dry and dead bits of plant material, and one thing that we discovered it eats quite nicely the other day, David and I, it loves to eat mushrooms. Mushrooms that grow on the back end of elephant dung. It finds very delicious indeed, so perhaps that is what it's looking for. Now, the other thing to think about is the antenna. We often I think, just pass over the antenna on insects and don't really pay them too much attention. This isn't an insect, of course, but it is an invertebrate, an arthropod. The antennae are used for smell. They are also used slightly for hearing, believe it or not, so they can pick up vibrations in the ground. They're used for sensing pheromones in the air. They can sense air pressure sometimes, and they can also perhaps be used for navigation, so they can sense quite possibly the magnetic resonance, if you like, of the earth. Isn't that amazing? Quite astounding. And temperature. They can pick up temperature. Daniel, no, it would not. You say if this thing lost one of its legs, and obviously it has many to lose, would it get that leg back? No, Daniel, the leg would not grow back. It would be finished, and that would be the end of that leg. But of course, I don't think it would really notice. I think it would hardly notice at all. Okay, let's carry on. See if we can continue towards those zebra, which have now seemingly taken fright and run away. But there is a very strange friend out here, a friend that we don't see very often, which makes me very sad. And there he is now. A wildebeest. Now, Julie in California, was that? Julie in California, you're wondering about coming on safari to Africa and what the best time of year is. Well, Julie, as we walk towards this wildebeest, which is an unusual visitor to these parts these days, sadly, it really depends on what you like. I think that there are 4 distinct times of the year to come out here. Well, let's begin with this time of the year, which I would describe as the sort of early summer period, October, November, December. Very hot most of the time, but lovely new flush of green grass, baby animals everywhere, new birds returning, sometimes a bit of rain. It's now starting to run away, unfortunately, and I think they're running away, everybody, because the wind is blowing from them to us, which means they don't have scent of us, and they tend to judge our threat level quite a lot by the scent that they can pick up. So we'll walk slowly around this way. Julie, then you get the sort of midsummer months, January, February, March, and those are, well, also pretty hot. The grass is quite tall and long, everything is very green, can be a bit of rain, but less of this frontal stuff that we're having now. But I like that time of the year because, yes, everything is here, everything's kind of settled down into the calm of the summer, everything's very green, and certainly the grass it just looks like a kind of verdant paradise, really. Then we go from April, May and June. Those are pretty good months too because it's much cooler, there's very little chance of rain, but then everything's kind of grown up a little bit, so all the Impala lambs are not really looking so lamb-like anymore. The migratory birds start to leave. But climatically, possibly the best time of the year to come, especially if you're from an area where, well, you don't have to experience the extremes of heat that we have to experience here. And then we go from, July, August and September. That's probably not the best way to have it. July and August, the end of winter, just starting to warm up a bit there. You don't get it is pretty chilly in the mornings in July and August. It's not freezing by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty chilly. Quite a nice time of the year because the vegetation starts to thin then, you see. And so what you find is that all the trees don't have leaves on them, and so seeing into the bush is good. We're in the dry season, so water starts to concentrate, so game viewing is generally very good. And into September, that persists, but the temperature gets much hotter, and it can be beastly hot during September with very little rain. And so if you come sort of August, September, October time, you find a situation where or September, October, basically, you find the game viewing is normally excellent. We haven't had any rain yet, but it can look, if you're not used to this kind of vegetation type, it can look very bleak. Not a huge amount of green around, no grass on the ground, kind of grey-brown, not this kind of green colour that you're seeing all over the place here. So those are the different times of year. Game viewing is good all the time. It just depends kind of what you want. There's no bad time to come. But they are very different times of year, Julie. Right, we're going to keep going down here. We've got Herbie walking out in front of there, and what he's trying to do is see if he can't find Karula's tracks. White Lady Aowin. You want to know how bad the drought is this year? The drought was pretty bad, as I was saying yesterday, and there's a general desire amongst human beings to be very dramatic, you see, and so people say, oh, it's the worst drought in living memory. Oh, it's the hottest summer I've ever experienced out here. Look, we had a drought. Was it the worst there's ever been? I don't think it was, but it was pretty bad. We had very little rain last summer, which meant that we went into the dry season, which was pretty normal, but without the water reserves that we should have had. And so, yes, it was pretty nasty. That in turn, of course, affected the buffalo, which in turn affected the lions, who got sick with white muscle disease. Some of them survived, some of them did not. Herbert is saying, let us go over there. And I don't think we're going to have a drought this year. But great predictions, of course, of deluges, Noah-type floods, diluvian battening down of hatches, building of arks, bolstering of dams, that sort of thing. Well, we've just had a little bit of spittle now and again. But when floods do come to this area, they normally come around January time. So there is Herbie. He's managed to find something that he feels we might enjoy looking at. I think this may have been the tree that Brent Leo Smythe was standing around yesterday afternoon when he found that beautiful olive burrowing scorpion. No, not burrowing, just olive scorpion with its babies. Maybe Herbert has refound those. Oh, come in. You sure? That's exactly what he's found. That is so cool. Hello, Hans. Okay, it's underneath this log. Nat.Geo. Oh, look, there it is. With all its little babies. In exactly the same place as it was yesterday. So as we watch Karula's babies grow up, so we watch the babies of the olive bark scorpion growing up. Don't we, Brian? Yeah. Yes. Isn't that cool? Now, in case you weren't on walk with us yesterday afternoon, where Brent described, I think, probably pieces of the biology of this creature, it is deeply venomous, so it's not something you want to be bitten by here. It will make you very sore indeed. If you happen to be allergic to its venom, well, it can make you quite sick too. But what is so fascinating is those little scorpionlings on its back. And I just think that's spectacular. It will be eating these termites. It'll be enjoying the termites greatly. And we talk, about parental care quite a lot out here. And it's often something that people are very, very interested in. But look at the scorpion and how amazingly caring she is. She's supposed to be, I suppose, what we might describe as a lower life form. But she is a spectacularly good parent to her little scorpionlings. I think it's just marvelous. And she will glow that tremendous kind of greenish blue color. Ooh. Watch out there, Brian. She'll glow that tremendous greenish blue color where if you shine ultraviolet light on her. Ooh. Now, UK expat, here she is, Brian. She's right around this side. And she's catching termites. She's stinging them. UK expat, you say, how does she feed the babies? I don't really know. I think perhaps what she does, she doesn't like really to be exposed. But perhaps what she does is actually, she probably kills off a termite or two and maybe puts them on her back for them to eat. Let's watch. There, she's caught a termite. You see that, Brian? She's unfortunately turned her back on you. She seems to be, she's caught it in her pincers. She's stung it now with her sting. That will kill the termite. Now let's watch. Does she put it onto her back for the little ones to eat? Or does she just devour it herself? She's waiting for it to die. Yes, she is. She's putting it onto her back. Or into her mouth. I can't actually see there. I'm pretty sure that she will just kind of put it onto her back there. It's quite a lot of sting for one little termite to have to deal with. Love 3 dogs. You're wondering at what age the babies become a danger. I really couldn't begin to tell you. I'm afraid the biology of the olive bark scorpion is not something I'm tremendously familiar with, and I suspect no one really is. Of course, with snakes, as soon as they're born, their venom is as potent as their parents. I don't know if that is the same for scorpions. I suspect it's fairly similar, but I suspect their little tails are probably completely unable to deliver a bite or a sting at this stage. So let's say, I don't know, let's say probably from about 3 or 4 weeks, I guess. But that really is a complete guess. Love 3 dogs. I can't believe this. We found this thing again. That is fantastic. Well done, Herbert. Good job. Marvellous. Well, now, you see, this is a very good question. N. Ruth, you're saying, do the termites know that the scorpion is a predator? I don't think so, no. But there must be some element of instinctual need to hide or get away. Otherwise, I imagine all termites would be eaten. You know, it's like with an ant or something like that. As soon as it perceives you around, you know that it's going to try and move away and run away and get into its hole or whatever it is. Now, a scorpion and a termite are not exactly animals known for their great brain power. In other words, they're not necessarily able to calculate consequences of their actions. In fact, many mammals aren't able to do that. We tend to think of mammals as being much more sophisticated from an intelligence point of view. So, can a termite tell that the scorpion is a predator? I don't know. There will definitely be some kind of pheromone given off by the scorpion that perhaps the termites are able to pick up, but they don't exactly seem to be running away from it. I mean, there's one about to climb onto its back by mistake. So I'm going to say no, I don't think they can. There may be some kind of energetic effect where, they pick up the energy of the scorpion and they know that it's trouble. I don't know. Isn't it fascinating to think? The scorpion's got the termite in its mouth, I think, now. So maybe she doesn't put it onto her back for the babies to eat. I really don't know how they manage to eat. I mean, that is a proper scorpion, isn't it? This is amazing. Jenny, again, I'm so unfamiliar with the biology of this animal. You say, how many babies does it have? Brian, what do you think on the back there? About 30? Wow. About 30 little babies, maybe? And hoping to try and get onto the bark again, which of course we will allow it to do. But this is a stinging beast, this flailing around with those pincers, which are fairly ineffectual. And the pincers will be used mainly to put termites into its mouth as opposed to catch them. The sting is what's used to grab, immobilize, and kill its prey. Oh. Right, Taylor McCurdy, while this thing disappears underneath a piece of bark, has found you some stripy friends that are probably a little bit more friendly to her than they were to me and Brian earlier.
We've come across a herd of zebra and a couple of impala dotted in between them. But sadly, I don't think they're going to be around for too much longer as they're moving off into the thicker parts of Arathusa in search of the lovely long grass. Though, I don't think they need to go too far, and hopefully they don't, because there's lots of wonderful grass. Well, just below their noses, really. All they have to do is put their heads on the ground and, eat. As you can see, it's a lovely spot. It's nice and sheltered in there, though. Their tails are working overtime at the moment. So there must be a couple of flies or maybe a couple of midges that are biting them, that are fluttering around there. Hello, guys. Now, speaking about horses and things, I'll tell you now. That was so funny. I was just about to say that. Now, Dina, you must have read my mind. You were wondering why horses can be tamed, but zebra can't. And it's a really good question, because you'd think, being in the same family, that of course they'd be able to be, well, they're pretty much just like horses, just a different color, of course. Now, it's like they don't want to be domesticated. They've tried, but they are very cheeky. They bite, they kick. They are wild animals. I reckon, though, if you had to have a zebra and maybe you bred them and kept them in captivity and you tried to domesticate them over a number of years, I reckon eventually the offspring of maybe the third or fourth zebra that had been bred, they will probably be quite relaxed with humans and not want to kick and bite us all the time. However, they're not really useful to have because they don't have a strong back like a horse does. So you wouldn't really be able to ride them. Well, I don't know if you'd want to ride them. You'd have to be quite a light person. And, well, maybe you could train them up for show jumping. I don't know if there's any rules in the FEI about jumping zebra. Or I don't think they'd be too useful for pulling carts, maybe a small cart. But just in terms of having them around to use as a helping hand to sort of help you out with your daily chores and that type of thing if you've got a farm, I don't know. I think it would be better to go with donkeys and horses. I think that they are much stronger than the zebras are. And well, they are real weight carriers. So that's okay with me. We'll leave the zebra out here in the wilderness alone. We won't bother with them too much. We'll just look at them. I quite like it that they're out here. Now, there was a woodland kingfisher, but it flew away, and it flew up into this big tree, but I think it chased the turtle doves that were sitting in it as well, and now I can't see it anymore. I think it's flown away. I can hear it. David, I think it's done a sneaky on us and flown into the marula trees with all the leaves. Okay, well, we shall continue. We've got to do a little bit of reversing out of here. Let's go back. We're actually right at the airstrip. I'll show you the airstrip in just a moment. Oh my goodness. Oh, look at all the pretty flowers, David. They're just wonderful. All the morning glories for the morning. I suppose that's appropriate. And now the winds come back again. But isn't that lovely? We normally just see one or two every now and then, but it's nice to see a whole group of flowers together. It's very pretty. And I wonder what other little ones are going to start popping out of the ground and surprising us. Perhaps there'll be a new flower that I shall find that I haven't seen before. Now, that's what actually something Brent and I were chatting about over the next couple of days, hopefully between today and Christmas. We're going to try and do a butterfly challenge. Well, just because butterflies are all out at the moment and they're really beautiful, we'll have to choose days, of course, when it's not overcast and windy. Otherwise, I don't think we'll see too many insects. And we're going to probably go out after drive, do a bit of knowledge sharing, and have a look and prep for it, because butterflies are not an easy thing. It's sort of like learning birds. Every butterfly has got a different jizz. Now, when I say jizz, it's the way that it flies. David's laughing at me. David, that is the term that you use to describe the pattern in which the bird is flying. He finds that hysterical. And, of course, every butterfly has got a different flight pattern as well. Just like birds, you know how you see the hornbills sort of sailing in the sky, or the doves sailing in the sky, and then you get the erratic flight pattern of a drongo, it's doing circles and all sorts of types of crazy things. So that'll be quite nice. We'll go out and do a bit of practicing, though. Also look for a couple of different flowers and see what we've been missing. So that's quite nice, and that's what we do. If you're wondering about improving our knowledge, well, that's one of the ways, is we go out with each other, and especially when you've got experienced guides like James and Brent and Steph, of course, and Jamie, all out there. For me, of course, it's quite what I get to learn from the absolute best. We're going to have a little scratch, a few more, that elusive jackal, but for now, while we haven't got anything,
Hello, hello, welcome back. Now we've checked the southern boundary extensively. Unfortunately, no sign of Queen Krula or Hosana or Shungile. I did bump into Shanae from Nkoro, and they said they had tracks of Tingana and Krula going into Little Gowrie. So they're to the south of us still. And then I heard, as you probably heard from Taylor, the Nkahumas are in Simbambili. The Tsalalas are on Shirley's. Unfortunately, both areas that are outside of our traverse. So, I am going to start slowly heading back up towards the Buffalo's Hook Waterhole and Hyena Road, see if we can find Mr. Mfumo again. Now, it seems like James can't find any scorpions of his own, so he has to show clips of our scorpions from yesterday. And the butterfly challenge is a good one. I'm very happy. Taylor and I were chatting about it yesterday, and go out onto quarantine when there's a nice day. This is a terrible day for butterflies, and see if we can catch a few new species. What we got here? Hyena tracks. Now, Soraya was wondering if there's any update on Karula's cubs. Soraya, not that I've heard. The last update I heard was 2 days ago. Now, not quite ready yet, but we might get lucky for a frog or two. So I've been saying we need some of these pans to get some greenery, some grass for the frogs to hide in. Let us see if we can disturb one. Now, a pan like this, we could have banded rubber frogs, we could have cassinas, leaf folding frogs, stream frogs, but nothing is popping out just yet. But there's a very cool grass species that I don't think I've ever showed you guys before, but I'll bring that through once I've finished my check for amphibians. Okay, so this for me is the most likely spot. Oh, believe it or not. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready? Ready, Rian? Now we're going to put you to the test. There is a butterfly. Oh. Thorny. Follow my stick. You see it? That white thingy there. Do you get him? There we go. Isn't that cool? Now comes the hard part of IDing it. And I think I know what it is already. Oh, I'm sinking in the mud. See, you go looking for frogs and you find a butterfly. I just want to see if when its wings are open. Yes, beautiful. Did you catch that? Okay, I'm going to do it again. You see where it landed? It's right below me there. Got him? Okay, I'm just going to get him to... Hello, fly, butterfly. There we go. Beautiful. It is a new one that we haven't ticked off our list. And before I sink any deeper into the mud or get caught any further in the thorns, doesn't look like we've got any frogs, or if there are, they're being very, very sneaky. Haha! You can even find butterflies in this weather. But I'm going to put that up on the dashboard. You can have a look at the striped grass species we have got here. It is an aquatic grass species, so it normally only grows in pans. Oh. And the rain cover is giving Rian a little bit of a problem there, but there we go. It should get sorted shortly. There we go. Now it's called a jungle rice. And aquatic grass. And the seeds are quite sought after by quite a few different bird species. Very, very cool. And we only really see it in the summer, and it always grows in or on the edge of pans. Now, we are on to the butterflies. Now, you've got to be careful when it comes to this, because you have a scarlet tip and you have a red tip. Now this one was the scarlet tip. So there we go. Yay, we get to tick another one. I've got the pen with me. Scarlet tip. Now the main reason I know it is a scarlet tip and not a red tip is when looking at the outside, the red tip butterfly, the red comes through and you can see it from the outside. On the scarlet tip it is not as visible and it doesn't really come through on the outside. Isn't that wonderful? I didn't think we were going to see any butterflies today, especially not one as beautiful as the scarlet tip. Put our butterfly checklist down. Let's carry on. Now there's another pan I might want to check for some froggy friends, and the more the grass grows in these pans, the more pleasing and better they will become for the frog species.